Hi, this is just a little follow-up to the first video I did on my first aid box power accumulator. I've been using this for a week to charge mobile phones, and the 13 amp hour of sealed lead acid batteries in here seems to do that job rather well. It's used very little power out of the cells, dropping down from about, well, just under 13 volts after charging to about 12.4 volts, I think. So yes, not really dropped very much. It's had 5 phone charges, so yes, it seems to be holding its power quite well. In the last video of this, I mentioned that I'd installed one of these Coulometers into it, but at the time it wasn't wired up. Well, I've since wired it up. I've wired it up tonight, and I thought that I would just a little update of how this thing actually works. Yeah, so I've set this up. You have to enter the battery capacity, or the battery voltage when fully charged, and the battery voltage when fully discharged, which is fairly simple for a lead acid battery. And you also have to set the 0 current point. So if you have like something that always causes a small current drain, you could 0 that out so that it would ignore that. Although I personally can't see the point in that, because on a battery you want to monitor exactly what's being drained, rather than, you know, those little loads that maybe, say if this switches on and this thing is causing a 22 milliamp constant drain, you want this thing to show that it's causing a 22 milliamp constant drain, although at the minute it's showing 0 milliamps. But I have noticed it's a bit slow to update. If I plug in a 1 watt LED light, the one that I showed last week, or whenever I did the video, it actually comes up on here, or it's supposed to come up on here as 1 watt. Not quite, 67, 76, it's just ramping up. It's a bit slow to update. Yeah, it's showing around 80. I think it's about 90 milliamps total. So it's showing 1 watt now. It appears that it's not very sensitive for very low current items. So quite how accurate it's going to be when I use it for charging phones and things, I don't know. I guess I'll find out. So over the next week or so, maybe, I'll just show you quickly the inside wiring, which is actually a bit of a hodgepodge. It's functional, I shall describe it as. Just close that up, close that up. I don't have the LED on because it's quite bright, and if it's night time, you don't really want a great big bright red light on all the time. It's bad enough having this little green voltmeter on display. And of course, because the PWM5 charge controller is in here as well, you get a little tiny blue bit of light seepage through the edge of the casing. This thing requires a shunt, which is this device here. Excuse the messy wiring. Basically it goes between the batteries and the in and outputs, so it measures how much is being charged and how much is being discharged. It's got a 1 meter long cable, which is really silly, with a 5-way JST, which goes between this device, this power shunt, and the back of the display. There's also an extra power wire which goes into this as well. Some quite nice gold plated terminals on there. I don't quite know what this device is. It's got a name on it, which is just a jumble of letters. Being dyslexic, I'm not great at reading that sort of stuff anyway. So it's a fairly sensible little device. It's quite clever. I don't know how accurate it is. It doesn't appear super accurate. It certainly seems to be ignoring the 22 milliamp drain that that imposes, this USB output imposes. It's always drawing 22 milliamps when it's on, but this seems to have ignored that. So I don't quite know why, but that's something I shall investigate later on. But for now, it's just a little update. I thought I'd better wire this thing up because it seemed a bit silly having it installed and not actually doing anything. I was going to use it for another project which I've got in the wings, which is a lithium-ion powered version of this, considerably more powerful. It's got 30 amp hour, a 3S. It's a 3S 15p, but that's going to be in, well, they call them ammo cans, an ammunition plastic. It's not a can, it's plastic. It's designed for 50 caliber ammunition. They're quite good, these ammo boxes. They clamp down, they're nice, and they've got a waterproof lid. Not that that'll make any difference, because by the time you drill holes in the side of it, any waterproofing disappears. But that's got enough room in it to have a 3S 15p lithium-ion battery pack, and I've got a better Coulometer for that, a better design than this one, which has got the ability to shut the power off at a certain discharge current, so you can use it for overcurrent, over discharge. So it's fairly safe. It uses a relay, so you can shut the power off the output completely should you overload the batteries, because I fully intend in the next build to put some kind of power inverter, so taking the power from the lithium ions and boosting it up to our 230 volts, at up to 500 watts, which is more than adequate for what I would need. There's no point in, with a 30 amp hour battery, there's no point in having any more than 500 watts, because you discharge the batteries in about 30 minutes, so it's kind of pointless. But that'll be another video coming up. But for the time being, this one is now finished. It does what I need. It powers my LED lighting, and it charges mobile devices through USB. So that's the conclusion on this video. Well, I will do a little update once I've worked out about this meter and give you my views on this particular thing. These aren't particularly expensive, but I don't think, if it's not worth the money, then I certainly would suggest not to buy it. But that'll follow at a future date. If you like this sort of mad content I do, then like and subscribe and that sort of stuff. I do strange things, so yeah, if you like something that's a little bit different to the norm, just keep watching, and I'll post new items when they come along. Thanks for watching.